today we got our first look at Warzone Season 3's Reloaded update coming later this week, with Raven and the Call of Duty teams dropping a new blog post with a ton of details. Surprisingly, there was no roadmap today, but a ton of great changes have been previewed. Of course, today we're diving deep into what you need to know about the upcoming changes and additions. So with that said, as we go along, drop your thoughts below. Is there anything in particular that really stands out to you as a good or bad upcoming change or addition? Whatever the case, drop it down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, do be sure to subscribe button to stay there with all things Warzone Season 3 Reloaded, and very shortly here, Modern Warfare 2 content. If you'd like to stay ahead of all of that, I'd love to have you in the community. And finally, my friends at G Fuel have code Espresso bumped up to 30% off for one final day here. So if you guys want to try anything out for the very first time, grab a restock. My personal favorites are Hype Sauce, Pink Drip, the new Morbius Nectarine flavor, Starfruit, and Strawberry Banana. If you guys want to check any of that out, link in the description below, and use code Espresso for 30% off your entire order. But that said, let's jump into it. So Classified Arms Reloaded was broken down into a many number of different subsections here, but starting out with a sort of top-down level with this, they firstly previewed the brand new underground transit system, which, just like we saw with the subway systems in Modern Warfare or Chapter 1 of Warzone, like what we saw with the Red Door system in Chapter 2 or Black Ops Cold War's Year of Support, this new underground transit system is Chapter 3's fast travel system to get around Caldera. With what looks like 14 different locations here around the map, you can end up traveling from various locations to others. Now, this doesn't look like it's going to be on a sort of predetermined track, but instead, these will have predetermined locations that you can jump to, some more centralized than others, offering different avenues outside of those locations to either more or less locations to jump to. Now, what's interesting is that it looks like it's described to sort of already utilize those hatches and bunkers that we had with Season 2 in Caldera. So cool to see that expanded upon and to be able to jump on this, but this is going to allow you to travel by air quote minecart, though it will be something that is a little bit faster. It's again just that sort of instantaneous traversal of the map, or I should say a couple of seconds traversal of the map, because it seems like just like the subway station, you'll have that fade in and out sequence here with this. Now, as described in the blog, it seems like there will be lights above each of these destinations that you can travel to, and the lights will denote if it is a safe location or not, or if it's closed entirely, therefore you can't go to it. So very curious to see how this plays at a top-down level. Definitely looking forward to jumping in and trying this out, seeing if it speeds up the pace or anything like that in Caldera, but right now that is introduced here at Season 3.5. Serpentine was the next big addition here that was introduced, in which this is coming over from Vanguard and is a perk that acts pretty similar to how it does in Vanguard. Now, if you're somebody that likes to run around your tac sprinting, this will decrease the incoming damage from bullets, explosives, and fire by 20% so long as you are sprinting. Now, this is something that is going to be interesting because that negates the potential of things like one-shot headshots if you're sprinting across a field as described here by this blog post, but it also is something that isn't necessarily an immediate pickup. They stated that this is going to be a perk 1 slot addition, so that means you're gonna have to choose between a handful of pretty important perks in that tier 1 slot. Double time is one that I normally run, EOD, cold-blooded, quick fix. I mean, there's a handful of perks that absolutely are pretty important out of tier 1. So to add another one into that mix, we'll see if this makes the air quote meta or not, but only time will tell. Now, outside of that, they detailed quite a bit of new incoming items to Warzone. The big ones here being Gulag entry tokens and redeploy extraction tokens. Now, the Gulag entry tokens, this is something that allows you to enter the Gulag again. Whereas if you were to do that just once before, normally that'd be it. Even if you won and you came back, you wouldn't have the ability to die and go back again. But it seems like once you pick up one of these tokens, you'll get that second chance. Now, one cool thing that is mentioned here is that if you end up picking one of these up, or you have your original one, and you get to that point where the final 2 zones start and the Gulag closes, you'll actually get a little bit of a cash bonus here as compensation for not using that. So a pretty cool little quality of life addition here, I think. But then we also get that redeploy extraction token. This token being a sort of way to circumnavigate the entire Gulag or buyback process entirely. This, like the Gulag entry token, does deactivate when the Gulag itself shuts down, but players who hold on to this will have the ability to just simply redeploy once killed. So you don't have to go to the Gulag, you don't have to have your team spend any cash to buy you back, so definitely pretty useful overall. We also are detailed that a speed boost is going to be coming here at this one being similar to what's found in Clash. It'll grant the operator a temporary movement buff, and sliding while having this boost active ends up giving that sort of super slide here to it as well. So this will be something that isn't common in supply boxes, but can be found overall. One additional item here is a new field upgrade called the Radar Jammer, which this, just like what we've seen in previous Call of Duties, is something that will scramble the TAC map of enemy players and prevent kill streaks for anyone in that short radius. Now, they haven't defined how big this actually will be in regards to the overall playable space, but might be a good counterplay for those that don't want to be seen. Although they do mention that it can be hacked by operators using the Engineer perk, which actually does come back full circle to the pre-Season 3 briefing that myself and other creators had, where Ted Timmons mentioned that they were using an item, but somebody on his squad hacked it with the Engineer perk that he picked up out of a supply crate. So again, we kind of saw this previewed here, but we just didn't quite know what it was. Now, additionally, it is mentioned that we will see these perks that were introduced with Caldera finally coming over to Rebirth Island as well. So that's another big thing here. That's a nice quality of life change. Very curious to see how this will all play out in a sort of rebirth and respawn based game mode for BR, but looking forward to it. Now, this blog also details a new game mode called Champion of Caldera, which is a new LTM, but it's stated that it's built for solo players here with this, with Rebirth Resurgence solos being a blueprint here kind of for making the game a little bit more fun for solo players. The big catch with this game mode is that you have one singular closing circle the entirety of the match. So just like what we saw with the LTM in Blackout, we saw this again in Verdansk at one point. It's nice to see that we can end up seeing this come back to Caldera as well. Excited to see how this plays out. I don't really play solo too much, but that's because I really haven't had any reason to, so maybe this gives me one. The next big thing detailed here at Season 3 Reloaded is that of the Rebirth Island update called Occupation Scans that will be happening. This being a new sort of public event, but it's a really interesting one here in theory. I don't quite know if I will like this. I don't know if it'll be corny, cheesy, fun. I don't quite know just yet, but based off of reading it, it's interesting. This being something that when this prompt comes up, you'll have to go prone to avoid being seen on the TAC map for all players. So sort of like dodging an area scan, if you will. And I don't quite know how I feel about that just yet, but we'll see. Now, they detailed a little bit here about some stuff that seemed pretty hint heavy, but a lot of this seemed to be narratives leading up to this point right now, where they stated that they needed to reinforce Rebirth Island, and that was that sort of rebirth reinforcement that we saw with Season 2.5. But they stated that given those parameters, our 60-day assignment could have been considered a success. However, we are now aware that some of these upgrades to our defenses have been compromised. Now, the only thing that really kind of throws me here is that it says, on redacted, agents redacted informed us of hostile forces hacking into our radar towers to perform those occupation scans. So in the storyline of everything, that is who is controlling these occupation scans that will be coming as gameplay experiences. And they stated that they embargo this information until May 23rd at 1000 hours, which is just simply when this blog actually launched. So this kind of, to me, is explaining how we got here in a narrative perspective and isn't so much a preview as to what's upcoming. The only hint as to the future here is that they stated, although there is no physical threats detected, we are led to believe that mercenary forces currently stationed at Redacted may be contracted shortly to attack our alliance on Rebirth Island. So that could be a number of things. A new bad guy for Season 4 and 5 of Vanguard and Warzone. Maybe it's something that comes full circle where we see Task Force 141 somehow blasting back to the past here, or maybe it's Season 3 and 4, we jump more so up to present day again. We'll have to wait and see, but that's where we're kind of at with this. Outside of that, the blog post detailed a little bit about the new Vanguard multiplayer map of Sphere. That's going to be something for those that like the traditional multiplayer experience, finally getting something else here. And then we got detailed a little bit about the H4 Blixen, the new SMG coming here, and very curious to see how this will play out. Excited to get my hands on it, but that coming in both a bundle as well as an in-game challenge to unlock it organically. So that is kind of where we're at here with this. There is some other details of new operators, new bundles, and things like that, but truthfully, don't really care too much about those things. Those are more inconsequential to the overall gameplay experience. But that's where we're going to wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of some of these changes here with Season 3.5 or Season 3 Reloaded? Love to get your thoughts, so drop them down there. But if you guys enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. We're getting all things Warzone, Season 3 Reloaded, and very soon, Modern Warfare 2 information, updates, and all things like that. So if you guys are at all interested, I'd love to have you in the community. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.